this is kind of a surprising view, isn't it? Here we have a Jaguar AJ30 V6 engine attached to a Mazda RX-8 gearbox hanging from the ceiling of my garage. Now, it's not the first time that it's been suspended this way, but I have altered the support. Is actually hanging on two of these joists up here rather than just one, and there's a steel tube going between the two. So anyway, this is interesting. I might have even got it high enough that the car will go in underneath it. Straighten out some way from here. And indeed it is. Yeah, so I've got a chain or a seat belt strap running around the front of the engine and a simple ratchet tie down strap holding the back of the gearbox up. So let's keep on going. That's the one disadvantage of having the front of the car on dollies, is when I push it from behind at the back there, it tends to go sideways. But yeah, I think it's time to start letting the engine down again. Let's see if I can do that. Alternator, all of that has never happened, or it's never been there while the engine was being put in, so this is experimental. We've got a bit of sump touching going on now. Clearance here becomes a little, are you looking at that? This is where the clearance here starts to become a little challenging, but let's keep on going. Okay, the back of the gearbox is now on the dolly. Yeah, it's now resting on the aircon compressor, which is no good. Let's try that again then. Now it's possible that the fact of the trolley means that I can't get the thing to go down low enough, because that's like 3 inches high. Let's take the dolly out. Alright. So the dolly is no longer there. So I'm focusing on the front pulley area and the front of the sump. there's a little bit of restriction left to right now. Not exactly sure what that's caused by. Now, some time ago I modified the engine mountings to make them kind of simpler. Got a bit of a conflict going on between the sort of bobbin of the engine mounting and my bracket for the steering shaft, but because there's no great big foot there anymore, I can take the bobbin off. Here it is. Right, that might give some useful extra clearance. Does it help? Aha! Well, that's gone past the front pulley now. Not touching the bulkhead. Well, there is definite touching with the tensioner here. Well, it's a bagatelle to fit that, so perhaps I shall take that off. Yeah, but somehow how it is sitting on the tensioner. Right, let's take it off. As long as I can remember how to put it back on again. Something like that. Okay, am I free now? Still feels like it's wedged on something. So, off camera, I had a real struggle because the engine was forced to be too far this way, hence no exhaust manifold, and my left-hand engine mounting is currently off. And the reason it was forced over that direction is this bracket here, which previously wasn't there, which is the centre bearing for my steering shaft. So I've had to remove that. And right now, well, basically it's this section here interfering with the right hand exhaust manifold. The bearing is an oval shaped thing. Where is it? Ah, there it is. It's an oval shaped plate each side, bolting on kind of like that. And it's this side, unfortunately, that gets in the way of the steering shaft in the exhaust manifold. So that's going to have to be altered. Right now I'm uncertain whether that means it has to be removable. I mean, it could become removable, maybe by rather than welding all down here, having a small flange and a bolt-on piece. So it could become that, or maybe I can turn the oval thing round a bit. A few different options exist, but having struggled to get this off, I now need to put the engine back together again and see what space I've got. So that's what I'm going to do now. So engine mounting and exhaust manifold to go back on. Okay, so Got the manifold back on almost, and the engine mounting is also on. So I'm now going to, well, in a moment, I shall try this again with the steering shaft bracket not there, and we'll see what space we've got to play with, if there is any. So we've got everything back on again, apart from the aircon compressor. I think that may well have to wait till the engine's in place. So the difference between this attempt and the previous one is just that the steering shaft bracket has been removed. Now, once the engine hopefully goes back in again, I'll have another look at the design of this to see what can be done. Let's see if I can get it to go back in again. So the problem I'm having right now, having taken off the rubber part of the engine mounting, which is down here, I'll need to hook the hole in the bracket onto it. It's about nearly 2 inches too far forward at the moment. Similar situation on the other side. So, what to do? I've got the thing into position. I do have a problem with the engine mounting down here because the engine needs to come slide onto it rather than going straight down. I managed to jiggle the other side one to go straight on, but I can't do both sides, so something's going to have to be tweaked down here. But nevertheless, I've got the engine mounting in basically as a spacer, so right now neither of the bolts are actually through their holes, but it is in position, and the other one's even bolted down. So the position of the engine is now correct. And I can also confirm that some little bit of slicing on the chassis that I had to do down here has done the job, because it was touching previously, and now it isn't. So that means I can close that open, what is now an open box section, off, and that will be good. And also, I can work with the steering shaft, and that will be even better. Right, so I've got everything pretty much connected. The steering shaft is there. The bracket I made was too stuck out too much in that direction. There's no need for a removable bracket by the look of it, which I did wonder. I can see there's possibility that I could improve some clearancing down here where the steering shaft actually goes, but that should be fairly easy, just to skim a little piece out of the frame there. I can also see that I need to move my brake pipe, which is almost touching the exhaust manifold down here, so that needs to be altered. But this is pretty small beer really compared to having the whole thing in the car, and it did actually go in without anything removed. So both manifolds were on, the alternator was on, The only thing that wasn't on was this bracket, but as I said, I don't think that's going to make too much difference in its improved form. The only other item is the alternator, sorry, the air conditioning pump, which lives way down here somewhere, and I think that, because it's been in the car before, can be put in from underneath, so let's not worry too much about that. But yeah, this is now the most complete engine installation that there's been. It's still only kind of 95% there. So I've got a little issue with the engine mounting on that side, being very difficult to get the rubbers with the bolt sticking out through. So I'm going to have to devise something different there. I've devised this new mounting for the steering shaft, as I said. But that's kind of it. Now, everything else has already been in the car, all the intake stuff with the variable length and all that stuff. That's all previously been in the car a long time ago, but this is now the most complete install that it's had. So I will need to take it out again. I will need to do some little adjustments here and there, but I think that I'm not concerned that there's going to be anything fundamental, and that's important. So almost everything's in the engine now. Manifolds, mountings. I've even managed to put the left-hand mounting in properly. It probably needs modification in order to make it go in more easily, but it is actually in. The rear mounting on the gearbox is in. The right-hand mounting is in. The alternator's in. The steering shaft is not properly in because it needs a new centre mounting, as I've mentioned before. I've also checked, I can't physically get the air conditioning pump which I want in there because unfortunately I've put some fuel pipes and brake pipes in the way, so I'm going to need to change the brake pipes and fuel pipes. Actually, I think they might be on both sides, which is unfortunate, but that's one of those things. That's why you do sort of trial fits and so on. So it goes in pretty much like that. And the bonnet does go down without any problems. So that's all good, and things that are different from when I've tried this before are to do with the exhaust manifold is now clear. The engine harness, wiring harness, goes in there quite okay. It's a bit of a tight fit, to be honest, but it would, yeah, there's a bit of harness trapped behind the engine there, so I want to make sure that doesn't happen next time. But yeah, this is what it will look like. It's reasonably neat. So what to do next? Probably, well, I might let this settle for a while because it's been quite a lot of effort to get it back to this state. So I'll mull it over and perhaps do something else for a little while, but there it is. This is how it will be.